Over the past 5 years and 200 shows, we've covered every major rugby international and the very best from the wider game too. The action on the pitch is always important, but it's never been our sole interest. Rugby is about much more than the 80 minutes of game time, as we've found out over and over again on our travels. That's still just as true for the professionals at the top of the game as it is for the amateurs at recreational level. Take the post-season break for Bristol Rugby Club in 2008, kayaking the world's longest fjord in Norway to raise money for charity.
Just had a look at the mileage and we're not doing too badly, but the initial bit was quite painful. We've settled into a bit of a rhythm, boys getting their own sort of technique, and I think we're doing all right. I mean, can't not admire the scenery though, so there's nice things to look at.
We also went behind the scenes to find out how the referees got ready for the last Rugby World Cup in France. A training camp in the Alps provided the ideal preparation for the challenges ahead. Unexpected, unusual, unlikely. Time and again, rugby surprises. Just look at the places in which it's played. In the Arctic Circle, on the beach, underwater, and even inside a prison in Italy. At the Nisida Institute, a high-security centre for young offenders on an island off Naples, the sport has been introduced by players from a local club.
Rugby is a good opportunity for them all to practice sport, but it's also a way to channel their energy in a positive manner. We've noticed that through rugby, the boys learn a special way of socialising, which is extremely important in their social relations.
And that's repeated around the world, in Cambodia and Hong Kong, where youngsters from the poorest backgrounds are being introduced to the game. Or in Venezuela, where the Alcatraz project began in a crime-hit neighbourhood in 2003 and has since reduced delinquency by 70%.
Rugby provides a basis to learn, to have values and respect them. You need respect, work and companionship. Those are values that I didn't have, but ones that I'm slowly obtaining through the game.
Very often, rugby is just a small part of the story. In Calcutta, we reported on the work done by Tim Grandage, who set up Future Hope to care for abandoned children.
There were lots of children sleeping on the road in the streets, some of them on the steps. I felt rather guilty. I felt I should try and do something for them. We started taking many children off the streets to treat them medically, and they came back about 2 or 3 weeks later with the same problems. So we thought we'd better take them to a home, and that's how we started.
And Grandage insisted on introducing the children to the educational and character-building rigours of rugby, as well as giving them somewhere to live.
When I started to play rugby, I thought, yeah, it's really an interesting game. And I'm really, really fond of my games in this game, because this game is really so that I can do this game. I can do more better in my life.
Last year, we travelled to Thailand to visit the Phuket Tens. It's a social tournament with a difference. The players are also encouraged to sponsor children orphaned by the Asian tsunami and assist in the rebuilding of a devastated community.
The rugby community are very generous. They love the game, they love to come to Phuket, and obviously they connected to the good cause, so they love to support that. We have so many teams supporting a child or more than one child, and without that support we cannot run the program.
We've been inspired on countless occasions during the past 200 shows, and sometimes also a little confused. During the World Cup in France, we found out how local dance artists had responded to hosting the tournament.
The idea was to take the virile physical core of the sport and mix it in a dance with women. Because female dance is normally more elegant, not necessarily more precious, but we normally look for elegance in female dance, and here we wanted something much more raw.
We took famed chef Keith Floyd to France to celebrate the tournament.
Lunch is ready.
Watched a group of French chefs on parade during it, and even visited the theatre for a play about the culture of the game.
What's really funny is that it's the actors who've never even played rugby before that now ask to play as much as possible before we go on stage. They even ask if there can be more physical contact. So it's funny to see how it's really contagious.
It's often proved the case that the people on the sidelines have been more entertaining than the action. And more challenging and thought-provoking, because rugby is full of characters.
Been 15. I know, I'm not silly. They call me Sir from now on.
From the youngest referee in the game to the oldest ruckers around. But no group better summed up the values and spirit of rugby than Francois Boulard and his friends, who cycled from Paris right across Europe and Asia to Auckland, playing rugby wherever and whenever they could along the way. The world is far from perfect, but on Total Rugby we aim to make our weekly journey with the same optimism, fun and sense of adventure.
The thing about our journey that I've been struck by is that we've been everywhere and never experienced even the slightest bit of aggression. That may be because we're travelling together as a group of rugby players, but still, everywhere we go, people have given us such a warm welcome. I found that really interesting and really loved it.